If the two of you are laying your heads down on pillows on the same night in the same house, you're living together for the purposes of the family violence statutes. The testimony that she provided is that for a period of time, the two of you shared a bedroom, and for a period of time after that, you two shared the residence, but not the same bedroom. Either of those, if proven true, is sufficient to establish a family violence relationship because Georgia law includes all parties who live together, no matter the circumstances, as family violence, as people subject to the protection of family violence orders. So what's your next question?
Am I asking the questions directly, or am I just asking you, Your Honor, to ask the questions?
The best way I can put it is that I am the filter. And so if I hear it and I deem it appropriate to ask, I will ask it. If I deem it inappropriate, then I'll try to my best to explain why on the record.
Okay, cool. All right. Ms. Brennan, where was my location when we came to our agreement for this rental?
Can you explain what you mean by what was your location?
Yes, she claimed that I stayed in her room. I've never been in her room. I was staying down in the basement. This is actually the sub. Only thing me and her ever shared were the kitchen. That was it. Like
Okay.
the kitchen.
Well, her testimony was that you shared a room from about June to August, and then after that, separate rooms. I suspect that your testimony, when you give it, will say something different, and that's fine. Right. But okay. I'll hear that when we get there.
Okay. Like the location of my property. Where is my property now?
Miss Brandon,
the landlord has his property.
So this is not, and let me ask a follow-up question, Miss Brandon, this is not a place that you own yourself. This is somebody else is in charge of the property.
No, right. I rent also.
Okay. And so you were essentially subletting or bringing him in at that point.
Yes. First of all, as my partner, then as a tenant.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Brandon, were you aware that I was under heavy steroid use for the past 5 years and that I have an impotency issue? So you said we shared a sexual bed. How was that possible?
I don't know anything about no impotency. I don't know anything about that.
Exactly. As well, do you have a record yourself?
Irrelevant to this hearing. What's your next question?
I mean, the relevance is, Your Honor, that she said that there were minor kids at the residence from December beyond, and she has a charge on her record as far as an order as well for contributing drugs to a minor. And
Brandon, hang on. I'm going to jump in here. Here's how protective orders work in Georgia. Protective orders are granted or denied based on the things that happen between the parties. The person who moves in next door to you or moves into your house to rent a room can be the most dangerous person in the world, whoever you want to pick for that. It can be, if you want to go gangster, we'll go Al Capone. If you want to go serial killer, we can go Ted Bundy. They can move into your house, but you have no entitlement to protection under Georgia law via protective order until they commit an act of family violence against you. By the same token, whatever she has or has not done with anyone who's not you is not relevant to this hearing. What I have to determine is whether or not you, Mr. Ayton, have been the predominant aggressor in an act of family violence that was committed against this petitioner. And so using that same logic, you could have 10 other family violence cases with 10 other people. Right. It would not make, for the most part, it does not make Ms. Brandon's case any stronger to know that that exists. What we're here for is the determination of what happened between the two of you. Okay. Well, as far as any of the accusations in your petition that I've seen, Mrs. Brandon, have you called the police or you said I stole from you? You say I took your medicines. You say I abused you. I spit on you. I did all these things to you, but you never called the police, not one time.
I felt sorry for you. You keep saying how sick you are. I felt sorry for you. I liked you a lot. And no, I didn't call the police. Okay. You know how many women that don't call the police?
Now, were you aware that I was under hospice care and I was on hospice care from July all the way to December, and that my nurse came every day for 30 hours a week or more?
No, there was no one coming constantly. I saw somebody 2 times, a different lady 2 times.
Okay. Are you aware that they have documentation with the ACE Care Management, the ones who manage my casework, that you had served me with the eviction notice that they have in their property, and also that your property had mold damage and things like that of those nature?
My property has nothing. I have no property.
You were subletting to me, right?
I found out whatever you found out. I found out when you found out.
Okay. Also, let me see. What date did you say that your daughter came down to the residence?
I didn't say. I say she was there in December.
Okay. It was December 13th. Did I provide anything for you guys when she came down, like food or anything in that nature?
I have no idea, nothing about any food you're talking about.
Do I get are my prepared meals that I get because of my terminal illness and my hospice care, are they still coming to the house?
I told the people that you don't live there, that you were incarcerated.
Okay. And you say you weren't aware of the you said that you weren't aware that I had an issue with my kid's mother. Actually, it was from this court actually that this situation happened. But you said that you weren't aware that it was an issue that I had a warrant or whatever the case may be. But wasn't it didn't we together send any information over to the district attorney's office about people lurking outside the house and trying to do things to me because my kid's mother had called the victims of my case and was trying to get me hurt?
Who was we?
Can you explain the
I didn't
relevance
do
of this
anything.
line of questioning, Mr. Ayton?
Your Honor, there was constant reports to the district attorney's office, constant reports to internal affairs of the fraternity of police that there were people lurking outside the house. This was made aware to Mrs. Brandon. She was present with me when these things were done. I was actually trying to extract an order and extract these TPOs that I had originally had from your court, which I suffered a miscarriage of justice through this court pertaining to another incident. You said that doesn't have no relevance for this
So
one.
let me jump in a little bit, Mr. Ayton.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes, and I don't think your video is flipped, so I think I'm getting these directions right. Sometimes you fall off to the right a bit, and when you do that, I start to lose your audio.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It gets muffled or quiet. So you're trying to talk about other TPOs you filed against other people?
No, Your Honor. Like I said, this all stems from an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in the case where I had my nose bitten off my face in this county. Like I said, I guess I can elaborate on that one when I tell my side of the story. But like I said, me and Mrs. Brandon, like I had a residence. The TPO didn't get extracted when it was supposed to. The person wound up getting out of jail. They wound up tearing up my car, tearing up my residence, and doing more damage and trying to kill me. So it was
What does this have to do with Miss Brandon? And
that's when I moved to Connecticut to get away from this person because the police wouldn't help me because of my record. And when I left, my mom's has a brain tumor, half her brain, and my grandmother has stage 4 stomach cancer. And I was up there helping them, and the harassment continued. So I came down here to extract the orders and try to just get this madness to stop. And that's how I met Miss Brandon. Me and Miss Brandon, we had prior business before because I have a fashion retail business where I sell clothes and things like that legally. I do taxes on my business, and I have a production company. She's a musician as well. She does like vocals and poetry and things like that. And I was trying to help her on that scope, and we kind of linked up like in June of 2022. I called from up in Connecticut and I told her that I was going to come down and try to extract the orders on my kid's mother. When I came down here, we both had found out that, that people actually, the hospice care people, because she used to be my caregiver, my kid's mother used to be my caregiver, and they gave her the address of where we were staying at. And she had called like the victims of my case, and they were like casing the house and doing things like that. And I, at the time, like I had told Mrs. Brandon, you know, what was going on in those scopes, and we had reported it to the district attorney's office, internal affairs. She helped me. I actually have the corresponding emails where I CC'd her on the emails, where she was able to like hold record of it and stuff like that, just in case something had happened or something didn't happen. June 2nd, I moved I think it was like June 2nd. That's when we signed a contractual agreement that I was going to rent the basement. It was a 2-bedroom. It had a bathroom and everything like that. I moved all my stuff in, my studio equipment, massage tables, all that, you know, down there and stuff like that. I was conducting my business just normally and regularly. We never had any disagreements or anything like that until the basement flooded. I think it was like July, August-ish. And it took them a while to clean up the water and stuff like that. It damaged a lot of my property and things like that. So, you know, I just like my nurses that used to come to the residence, they were complaining about the mold and stuff like that, still being down there, still being an issue. They were trying to actually get me moved up out of there, but it's just like everything was going on, the pandemic and everything else. So I just was forced to stay down there for that time being. But I had plans of moving, but we never had any arguments or disagreements, or it never fought, or she never really just like so it's like you know, she kept making like little passes at me and stuff like that, and things like that, asked me if I like older women and stuff like that. But I just me going through what I was going through with my kid's mother, still being in that situation right there, and just having my nose bit off my face at September 7th, 2021. I wasn't really in the scopes of a relationship. I mean, I can't even sit here and slander her as a person. I mean, just right here is even coming as a surprise to me that she's taking this step. But it's like I said, it was I stayed there. I paid her the first time I got there. I paid her $650, which was June. Then I paid her. We came to an agreement after the flood, or whatever the case may be, in July, that I was going to pay her $500, and I had been paying her $500 plus any additional runs or whatever that she was doing for me. I was the main provider of the food in the house through my food stamps and through additional foods and things like that. Like, cause she stayed at work all the time, so it was like I hardly ever seen her. So it was like, you know, it's surprising to me. But there was allegations of choking and stealing this, doing this, and all this stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, you never called the police or anything, and I had an active warrant. If you would have done that, then you would have seen like I would have got locked up or something like this. It's like you waited for this situation. But hold on, let me just finish my story. As of December 13th, her daughter came from Rochester, New York. She came down with 3 kids and 2 suitcases and no money. She talked to me about her daughter coming down, and then she told me that she needed me to stay longer to help her out with the bills and things like that, because she couldn't take care of the kids and take care of all of that by herself. And that my extra income was something that she could utilize. So I told her, I'm like, okay, well, how long do you want me to stay? She told me that she wanted me to stay until February, March of 2023. And she said that come March, I wouldn't have to pay her any rent or anything like that. So I can save my money and move into another place. So I said, okay, we had that agreement. It was a verbal agreement. I didn't get it on contract, but I took pictures of all the rental receipts that she gave me. So I have those as well in my phone. But let me see where we at. Yeah, so December 13th, her daughter moves in, and we and her were supposed to go half on the groceries, and I wound up giving all my food stamps. Like, her daughter took my car to the store and went and bought groceries for my food stamps and stuff like that. And she didn't put any money, like she put like $50 or something like that. She was supposed to go half. I spent like $180, and I have my kids. I have custody of my other children, who at the time, they're the only ones who come to the residence because I'm impotent.
All right, I'm going to jump in now. I don't know how long you've been going for. Did you remember when we were at the part of the proceeding that you were supposed to be asking questions?
Oh,
because we've gone way past that, and you've been talking a long time. And essentially, what I decided at some point was, well, I'm going to hear his testimony.
Thank you,
and see where it goes. But you have just been going, and it's stuff that has. I've tried to give us the guidepost of what we're doing in regards to this hearing and the decisions that are made. Whether or not you were a predominant aggressor in an act of family violence. And we're not getting there. Rental receipts and bills and kids moving in, none of this has anything to do with the decision I have to make. And so I'm happy to let you keep going, but what I'm taking from all of this is that your answer boils down to, in the simplest terms, didn't happen. So is there anything else that you need me to consider before I look at the totality of the evidence presented in this case and start making determinations?
Well, yes. Like I said, I have evidence I can't scan, but I do have this postcard, Your Honor. That's it.
And what is the postcard?
This postcard was sent from the Cobb County Jail. It was sent on January 15th, 2023. This was before I got served with the TPO papers. So I had no knowledge of the TPO thing or anything of that. And I wrote Mrs. Brandon a postcard. And it got postmarked. It got sent out and it got sent back to me on the 27th. And then it got sent back out again on the 2nd of February. And then it got sent back to me again on February 23rd. And this all.
And what is that supposed to teach me?
Like I said, the contents of the postcard alone would show that exactly what I'm claiming, Your Honor, that it wasn't, it was no harsh feelings, that they had, they when I got arrested, the police.
So this is a postcard that you're sending to her, correct?
Yes, it was.
Okay, that is not admissible because that's what's considered a self-serving statement. So if I were gonna, you can, somebody, and I'm going to try to use these terms carefully, but you could almost manufacture evidence and cover stories for yourself if you wrote a nice letter or did something like that. And so the law does not allow your past statements of that nature to be admitted by you on your behalf.
Well, Your Honor, if that's the case, then that's the same thing that I would argue with her. But this right here is a postcard.
Testimony is different than writings.
This is stamped by the jail. This is stamped by the post office. This is before I even received the TPO or even had knowledge that there was a TPO brought against me.
Okay, but whether you were happy with her or not does not have a direct bearing on whether she was happy with you or not.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you want to hear the postcard.
I don't, because I've already said it's not admissible. What's next?
Your Honor, like I said, I'm here in this prison because of a miscarriage of justice I suffered at this court already. So I mean, if I'm whatever decision is made, I mean, like I said, I've already argued the fact that it's not in the jurisdiction, for one, of this court, and then two, that I what else can I say? I was a tenant. I was a landlord. These statements that's being made that I've not seen near evidence. Like, and it's like I'm arguing a fact of it's just like, what am I arguing? I don't know what I'm arguing. I don't know how to really come at civil cases and stuff like that. Like, I got certified to practice due process law in the state of Georgia in 2014, but this is a civil case. I've never really handled it on the superior level. All I know is that for state level, I'm prepared to file my landlord-tenant issues, and my property has already been defiled, according to her, because of whatever she said, her landlord or whatever took it in his contract. She wasn't even supposed to touch my property until the end of these procedures. And it's like, I feel like I'm just being railroaded. I mean, it's like my property, it's on the police report. And these are things that your court has access to. You have access to her record. You have access to the fact that you have a mediator from the Women's Resource Center who talked to me the day of December 30th, elaborating that I called the crisis line because her daughter, who wasn't even a resident of the residence, threatened to attack me and spit in my face. That was the reason that she served me with a eviction notice on December 16th and told me I had to move by the 1st, because me and her got into it because her daughter came in to our residence and ate my food, and my kids didn't have anything to eat. Then they came into the residence and were treating my kids beyond the scope of I'm just, Your Honor, I'm at the mercy of the court. I don't know these proceedings. I haven't been able to present any of my evidence the way that I need to. I haven't been able, my motion, you denied it. And that would have been something definitely to help in my scopes. I'm in this position. I've been indigent because of this position with my companies and my business. I have been inconvenienced by this court because you guys miscarried me and didn't serve a TPO in a timely manner that you were supposed to serve the TPO, which resulted in the person that was attacking me to get a vantage point on me because of my record. So I don't know what to say or what to do about the situation. I don't.
All right. Well, for my part, here's what I will say. You are someone who does not lack for confidence, and I suspect that in many areas of your life that has served you very well. And what has happened today, on numerous occasions, you continue to cling to things even when being told that they are inaccurate in a way that is troubling to me. I tried to, in painstaking detail, explain to you exactly why it does not matter if she was your landlord living at the same location as you, or if you two were in a dating relationship. It does not matter. And over the course of all the testimony you gave, I don't even know how long that went on for, and all the testimony Miss Brannon gave, at no point did anybody dispute the fact that the two of you put your heads down on your respective pillows in the same house at night for an extended period of time. That is what living together is, and that is what makes this a family violence case. Even if you're not family, it's still family violence. And the same type of concerns emerge again as you complain or voice your frustration with the fact, I shouldn't have used the word complain, because your frustration is very real and it's understood, but this isn't a proceeding where you're entitled to have the state pay money for you to have an investigator. I don't even know what they would investigate. You're denying claims about testimony that she gave from events. It's like, so
all my evidence,
I don't know. It's okay. I don't need feedback, but okay. But it's not a coherent strategy. You're telling me, oh, well, I sent her a postcard from the jail. That's fine. What the postcard says, unless it contained a death threat or something crazy that would be grounds for the issuance of an order itself, is immaterial. Because if I were in jail and I thought writing someone a letter could help me in a court proceeding later, you know what I would do? Pick up a postcard and a pen and go write a letter. And so that's the reason the law doesn't allow for those self-serving statements, is because we can't really prove what's in your heart. We hear testimony in the present about recollections of the past, and we make the determinations that we make based on the evidence that is presented. I do think part of the puzzle here is, I don't even know if I can call it a landlord-tenant relationship or not. I have unanswered questions that it is not my job to answer, nor will I try to answer them today, about the nature of the living situation here, with Miss Brannon apparently subletting part of this property to you that is being overseen by somebody else. Now, regardless of who wanted you out or why, as of right now, you're not there. I don't know what the expectation is as far as your criminal case, in terms of a possible release or lack of release. I don't know if there are other things holding you besides whatever you're in for. These things are not before this court today. But the testimony that is given in the context of this hearing is of an incident that took place at a time that the parties were residing at the same location. Even if they weren't residing at the same location, it wouldn't change the fact that they had resided at the same location previously or at another time. And so that testimony is sufficient for the court to find that more likely than not, an act of family violence has been committed. And so that is what I am going to do. It would order you to stay away from Miss Brannon and her property, to stay 100 yards away from her and her homework and school, and to attend and complete, if you should be released, the family violence intervention program,